when we say yes to exploring our own growth, when we say yes to exploring our own potentials, there's such a joy in that, right? There's like this really foundational joy that comes with thinking about our lives, our own individual lives, with the idea that there's a lot more that we can do. And we're just in a journey somewhere along the way. And we can do things and make decisions and make choices along the way that can potentially get better and more expansive as we go forward. And I think that what brings us together, as a community of men, is that very notion that we're here to grow. Like, you guys all show up here because you want a new perspective, right? You want to think about things a little bit differently. You want to think outside the box because, look, the world is pinging you to think a certain way. I mean, we are inundated, like I said, with so much information, so much messaging, so much opinion, so much story, that it's really hard to just find, boom, that truth about who we are and what we want to do. And I think what Tuesday Tribes is, and all the stuff that we do, is really at its source a reminder to get back to the most important inquiry of all. Who are we? Like, who the hell am I as a human? And who are you guys? And we constantly come back to that place. You guys all know by now that I don't tend to focus anything I talk about around denominations or certain religions or certain philosophies. I'll pull stuff from the Bible. I'll pull stuff from the Bhagavad Gita. I'll pull stuff from, the Buddha. I mean, wherever I find wisdom, I will take it and conform it into something that is just fundamentally, hopefully, has some truth to it. But I love what Jesus said in the Bible around know thyself, right? Know thyself. I mean, there is something around that, because what that points to is the fundamental question of who am I, right? Another Jesus thing that our brother from a long time ago said, who am I, and who are we? And so I wanted to start that off tonight just to kind of cut through a lot of the plaque, a lot of the crap that we see all out there, and just get here to this place where we can be honest with ourselves. Like, you know what? I'm at a place in my life right now in this present moment. I am breathing. I am in this body. I have situations. I have money situations. I have relationship situations. Some are good. Some are challenging. Some are okay. Some are ambiguous, whatever it is. But behind all of that, there is a drive and a fundamental impulse that I can tap into at any moment that has me searching and finding something even greater or clearer about who I am. And when we do this thing, we do this chest bump, right? We always go, yes. We do this thing, right? Like, yes, everyone do it with me. Like, yes, yes. This, to me, my brothers, is that reminder that yes, the yes to myself, the yes to my growth, the reminder where I can always go back to the fundamental question about who am I, and what am I here to do? And what we found, and what you found, no doubt, in your life when asking that question over and over again and training yourself to cut through all the plaque and getting back to the most foundational question and inquiry in your life, is when you do that, your entire frequency, your magnetism begins to change, right? And you actually begin to manifest things in your life, people, situations that are more in line with things that are truer at a deeper level. And like, it's really hard to just say those words, right? You almost have to experience that. Like the warrior activated process that we do when we write your own eulogy and I have you thinking with the end in mind. That is cutting through a lot of ambiguity that you have, that we have, around what it is that we really want in our lives. That practice is golden. I mean, it's a master practice. If you haven't reread your eulogy in the last few months, I want you to go back and reread it like in the next week. Okay, because that process is so important, where it gives us the ability to think with the end in mind about our lives. And what does that do? It creates excitement. It should, if you do it right. It creates some excitement about the potential that you have that right now is unrealized. I look at some of you guys and I know your situations. Some of you are flying high. And when you're flying high and things are going well, what do you want to do? You want to double down. You want to triple down on your own growth. Okay. I know that I've made the mistake in the past that when I've gotten to a point where I felt pretty good, more money was coming in, my relationships were good, I was feeling more healthy, I was looking good, I kind of tended to run away Or say, you know what, I'm not gonna meditate today. I'm gonna get rid of my morning routines. I'm gonna kind of not worry about all that growth stuff because things are going really well. Anyone ever do that? Anyone ever, like, when things are going really well, that's when you get off the boat? And then guess what happens? Like freaking clockwork, you fall back down. Anybody? Everyone's hand goes up. Okay, everyone's hands goes up. So, humans are interesting. Like, we are creatures, that are programmed in a sense, and we share certain programs. And this is one of them, that we tend to forget the fundamental inquiry, the fundamental question. And what I'm here to tell you is you must commit to always growing, always seeking truth, always asking yourself, who am I? Always asking yourself, what do you need in this moment? Because when we come on to these calls and we do our stuff, the presupposition that I work with is that you guys know what to do. We're gently giving you practices and tools that just have you remember. Nothing that we do here is mind-blowing, right? It just has you remember, oh yeah, I should think with the end in mind. Yeah, I should really decide what I really want in this life before I just get up every single day and do stuff. That's not a way to be happy. Let's figure it out first. So the stuff is pretty fundamental, but we got to get back to that question. Now, alternatively, a lot of us will turn to growth. We'll turn to like an inward journey when things are going bad. We'll kind of like, oh man, like things fell apart. I lost my job. I'm running out of money. My relationships are tough. There's been tragedy in my life. I mean, things happen in life, brothers. And we'll often use that as a springboard for turning more internally. And in that moment, it's very common for us to experience some level of growth, right? Because it's like clockwork, because when we go internal and we ask ourselves these questions, we grow, we get additional perspectives, right? And we put them into our lives and we start over time to see results. We start to see things happening. And I'm just like mind boggled at my own personal failure to stay consistently on the path of growth, of asking myself the bigger questions. Partly why I do what I do here is so that way I can remind myself. I mean, you guys think this is for you, right? Part of this is for me. So I can remind myself, because while my perception is I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me, I'm reminding myself in every moment that I'm on these calls with you to say, hey, what am I here to do? How can I get better? And what's so cool about this moment in time, I talked about this in a previous call. I'm not sure if it was this tribe's call, but one of my favorite quotes was uttered by Thich Nhat Hanh, who's a really well-known monk, Buddhist monk. And he said that the next Buddha is going to come in the form of a community as opposed to coming in the form of an individual. I don't know if I said that on a tribe's call recently, but I love that quote. And it's really been resonating with me a lot lately, because this idea of an enlightened being is something that we've had in our history. I mean, we have saints in our history. We have a Jesus, we have a Buddha, we have all these characters that we can think back to, or the stories that we know about them was that they've attained some level of awareness or an enlightenment that helped to teach others how to be a best version of themselves. And I believe that. I think there's people on this planet right now that are at that level, that are really like teaching the truth over and over again. But Thich Nhat Hanh's quote is so relevant. What if at this point in human evolution, the next Buddha is a community, is a collective consciousness, a collective awareness around this idea of, well, how can we be better? And I think that's relevant because what we found in our work together here in this brotherhood is that when we support each other, when we really find other people, okay, that we can count on, right, through accountability, through meetings like this, just through the breakout sessions that we do on these calls, like when we just find some brothers, that we can talk to, it propels us, right? Yes? Like it amplifies our ability to get clear about what we need to do.